to be the death of hip hop, just like it was the death of Drake. Let me explain. Hi, for those of you who are new here, my name is Brittany, and I decode power and influence through entertainment. Now, let's get to the problem with incel culture. If you're unfamiliar with what an incel is short for involuntary celibate, and it articulates a very specific group of men and boys who are all in all misogynists. They believe that women are targeting them, trying to punish them, and that women's sole use in life is for procreation and for their amusement. But because they feel they've been unjustly denied for access to women and to, activities with women, they seek to harm them. And instead of engaging in healthy interactions with women, they seek any sort of attention through trolling, piquerism. The list goes on and on, because any attention is better than no attention at all. And so let's use Drake's career as an example. Drake's biggest fan base for a majority of his career were Black women. And as so often happens, so goes Black women, so goes the rest of society. And so it's really around Scorpion. But up until that point, he was seen as Heartbreak Drake. A lot of people who consider themselves to be hardcore hip hop fans did not really resonate with Drake because he was seen as soft. And we've talked about Drake's constant pursuit of power and cultural relevance and his ability to be the penultimate culture vulture. He's been Latino, he's been Caribbean, he's been all of these different things. And around Scorpion, that's where we really see that pivot into becoming an incel. Because around that time, if you go back to Scorpion, you'll see that a majority of the songs were about Georgia Smith, who ironically is an underage British singer, very talented, very committed to her then boyfriend at the time. And that enraged Drake, because for all of his success, for all of his perceived influence, he could not have access to the person that he desired. And so he decided to make it everybody's problem. And this brooding, deeply insecure music resonated with a lot of men who felt cut off from access to the women that they desired. Now, not for the same reason, of course. A lot of these men lacked the resources, and no, I'm not just talking about the money, I'm talking about respect, loyalty, and the requisite social skills needed to maintain any sort of healthy romantic relationship. But at that time, we saw Drake really get angry, right? And much of his music thereafter was really angry and really emphasized the objectification and almost punishment of women. And then we have, honestly, never mind, we have all of the albums that came after that, but then we have For All the Dogs. And we see him creating videos where at one point he had Nice for What, right? And he uplifted women, and we saw women like Issa Rae and others in the videos and really being lauded for being high achieving women who were committed to their culture. We now see in his most recent videos women portrayed as dogs. And so we see these dogs with these bejeweled collars with women's names on them. And the symbolism is just not that deep, right? Women are quite literally B words. It's there. And so now, when it comes to the beef, we saw Kendrick not only standing up for hip hop and for Black American culture as a whole, but also for women. In song after song, he's reiterating that Drake was disrespecting, and not only Drake, right? He broadly made a statement for whoever was coming after Black women, but we see that he mentioned Serena. And then at the Super Bowl, we see Serena as part of the halftime performance. And what is Drake's response? Drake, up until this point, hasn't directly responded to Kendrick since the Heart Part 6, right? He's been very silent. But upon seeing Serena performing at the halftime performance, which again was layered. Sure, she could have been dancing in defiance of Drake. Drake has mentioned her in his music time after time after time. But we also see that she was dancing in defiance of Wimbledon's rules, because we know that historically she's been fined for sea walking after her wins, for expressing herself and honoring Compton, right? And so again, Drake can't deal with Kendrick. He instead decides to post on his little, Finsta. He posts a picture of himself hugging Serena's ex-manager. And this is exactly the type of behavior that's problematic, that we need to curb, call out, and curtail within hip hop and the broader community as a whole. Because you don't have any of that type of energy for Kendrick, but yet when it comes to a woman, you're, the Twitter fingers turn to trigger fingers immediately. And so it's almost like a Venn diagram, because a lot of the men who are supporters of Drake are the very same men who have issues with women. And I hate to break it to you, but women are, have been, and always will be part of hip hop in the same way that they are, have been, and always will be drivers of the culture. And let me be clear, I'm not saying it's one or the other. We need one another. However, men cannot expect support from women without respect. And what we see here, even Stephen A. Smith talking about the fact that he would divorce Serena Williams if he were in that position, as if he would ever have the chance. So he couldn't, in his mind, he couldn't wait to punish a woman in this imaginary relationship. Like, the math is not mathing. It's an illness, truly. And so I think Drake's career and its current tailspin is instructive for us. It's a warning for us. If we want to continue to build bonds together, if we acknowledge that both women and men have value in the community and in hip hop, we need to address the very real issue that we have with the outright misogyny and incel culture that's become insidious and snaked its way into our music and hip hop as a whole. As always, look forward to your thoughts. Have the day you deserve, and, be kind to each other. Bye.